Hey, Nigerian XJW6 here, otherwise known as Chico. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're having a good day. It's a great day here. The sun's shining. I've got daylight rather than artificial lighting, so really good. All good times. I hope you are keeping well, staying safe. You know, things are looking up. Things are looking up all over. You know, with things. I don't want to say going back to normal, but you know, some sort of normalcy. So that's really good. It's a sit down one today. By the way, if it's your first time here, hi, hello, welcome. If you are returning, hi family, good to see you again. I'm a former Jehovah's Witness from Nigeria, currently living in the UK. Every now and then I put something out there because the idea of this is to add my story to the growing number of people who are leaving the witness faith and sharing their stories. So I wanted to share mine as well and add my voice to it because videos like this helped me in the process of waking up, in the process of doing my research, and so I wanted to add to that, and that's why I'm here. So the other day I was having one of my therapy sessions and I was trying to explain to this lady the whole thing behind witnesses who have left struggling to figure out who they are, and just trying to give some background, make some sort of sense of why that was. And I was talking about things like having the idea of having a new personality and the idea of growing up having it drilled into you that you don't want to bring reproach to Jehovah's name. And her face, she had no idea what the hell I was on about. And it's like, oh yeah, I mean, we know we have these strange things. We know that we have these strange beliefs and things that just completely random, but it's funny seeing someone else sort of react to that. And so I thought I will talk about some of the special language, right? Some of the special language that's used in the witness faith. If you are listening and you've never had anything to do with the witnesses, lucky you, and you're welcome for the education that you definitely don't need. But if you are someone who was raised in the faith, or you've ever been one at all, sorry if you get triggered, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to look at some of them. I've made a note. This is probably not going to be an exhaustive list. It's just the stuff that came to mind for me that I've put down. So if I miss out anything, by all means, put it in the comment below, add it to that as well. And you have to say what it means. You have to say what it means. So the first one I put down is faithful and discreet slave. Random. So this one has had a change in meaning fairly recently. So before, like a few years ago, this referred to the group of people that are believed to be going to heaven. So the anointed, which they believe is 144,000 people. So this is from some scripture. I don't know what it is now off the top of my head. Apparently Jesus was entrusting his earthly belongings, people, to the faithful and discreet slaves to look after them. And so these were supposed to be the group that were going to heaven. Now in recent times that's changed to mean just the governing body, which is the group of 8 men who lead the whole thing, who run the whole show. They've decided that they are the faithful and discreet slave, and so they get to call the shots. So faithful and discreet slave, the leadership at this time, made up of 8 men in New York. That's what they mean by that. Number 2, I've got a new personality. So this is one, I don't know if it's Paul that said this. I really should have checked the scriptures before I came on, but there we go. So this is what is supposed to happen when you decide to join the group, when you decide to make that commitment. You are supposed to put away whatever personality you had before, essentially whoever you were before, and put on the new personality. And no, they're not exaggerating. They mean you need to have new friends. You need to start dressing different. The things you can watch, the places you can go, what you can talk about, how you govern your life. You essentially become a new person. And so you're meant to put on this new personality. And that's what sort of started off the conversation. Because I was talking about how as a child, when you grow up in this group, you're not really free to really be yourself and see how you develop and see who you are, because everything's laid out for you how you're supposed to be, who is supposed to be your friend or not be your friend, you know, outside of the normal protective boundaries that parents would set for their children. As a parent myself, you know, avoiding things that would get a child hurt, you know, advising them not to drive too fast on their bikes, you know, being careful when crossing the road, things like that. But this is beyond that. This is determining their personalities. So unfortunately for those of us who are born in, it's not so much dropping an old personality and getting a new one, is you have a certain personality molded into you from the start and you don't have anything there before. But that's essentially what it is. Become a new person in every single way. Number 3, I've got reproach to Jehovah's name. Who is triggered? Who is triggered by that? Oh my goodness. So Jehovah, that is the name, that is what they believe God's name is. Even though in recent years they've admitted that, you know, they're not so sure that that's how it would have been said, and some of the vowels there, they don't have those in the original grammar. There's people that have made detailed videos about this, so I'm not going to try to go into that. But despite that, they are still using the word Jehovah to refer to their God. And so bringing reproach to Jehovah's name is one of the worst things you can do. I think maybe the worst is grieve the Holy Spirit. But that's a whole other thing. I don't actually have that on my list. That thing always confused me. But bringing reproach to Jehovah's name. So this is doing anything that they don't approve of, doing anything that is deemed to make people think badly or see the religion in a different light. Because mind you, there is no proof of any Jehovah who is impacted in any way by all of this, because all you're doing essentially is taking their word for it. When they say X, Y, and Z, when you do them or when you say them, it's going to bring reproach to Jehovah's name. And trust us, we know, we're his spokespeople. That is the faithful and discreet slave. So when they decide that X and Y is going to bring reproach to Jehovah's name, it means it's going to give them bad PR. You know, it's going to make them look bad. And you don't want that. So you are thinking out every single thing you do in your life, whether it's going to bring reproach to Jehovah's name, to the detriment of whatever is good for you, your family, your loved ones. All of that is secondary. Whatever you do, don't bring reproach to Jehovah's name, shame, whatever. Okay, next one, I've got pure language. Hint, hint. I think, maybe that's what I should call this video. I don't know, because what they call pure language is essentially Jehovah's Witness speak, right? It refers to the terminologies and things that they say that you're not going to hear anywhere else. Not really. No one else is speaking like that. People that get into cults and sort of look into, you know, the markers of a cult. I'm thinking of the Bites model. There is a lot of people that would argue that this is sort of almost a slam dunk in terms of a marker that this group is a cult. The fact that they want to have their own language, which is supposed to be pure. You know, if you're calling something pure, what does that say of the opposite? What, impure? You know? So this is sort of a collection of words that they use that they know no one else is talking like that, but it's okay. So in general, all the things that I'm covering here, they would all fall within pure language. Ways of speaking that when you hear someone else, if you meet someone for the first time, you don't know them, but they use any of these words, you're going to know, maybe that's one of us, because no one else is talking like that. I hope I'm explaining it well. Another one is divine teaching. Now, I guess if you separate it, it sort of makes sense in terms of teaching that is divine. But however, in this group, it's like it's a specific concept. So this refers to things that are coming straight from the faithful and discreet slave. So whether that's in talks that they give or material that they print out, so they print a bunch of stuff. And so all of that would class as divine teaching, aka spiritual food. Oh goodness. I don't have that on my list, but yes, otherwise known as spiritual food. So anything the faithful and discreet slave approved to print out, or material that they approved to be delivered in talks, whether it's in their weekly meetings, their conventions, which is sort of a bigger group of that, anything that's coming from them in that way would class as divine teaching. Spiritual food, which you're supposed to lap up and treasure. Happy days. Next, I've got bad association. Again, who is triggered? Who is triggered? Oh my goodness. So bad association is basically anybody who is not in the group. Yeah, Yeah, because I was gonna say, is there even a caveat? Like, do they make an exception if someone is a good person? No, it's bad association. Anybody who's not in the group, and the famous scripture or the famous phrase that comes from, bad association spoils useful habits. And so anybody who's not in the group, eventually some of their characters is going to rub off on you, either introducing behaviors that you don't already have, or stopping you from exhibiting behaviors that you should be, aka part of the new personality. Got it? You see how this gets messy? And so bad association spoils useful habits. Anybody who is not in the group, and this is part of why you don't really have friends who are not in the group. They're acquaintances. If you have to work with them, go to school with them, you know, you don't have a choice. When you're going out to preach to them, that's one thing. But other than that, they really shouldn't be your friends. Next, I've got wicked system of things. Wicked system of things, that is essentially the world as it is right now and everything. It's in the context of, this is the wicked system of things that is about to be annihilated. Basically, it's all about to be blown up. Any minute now, God's gonna come down and just end it all. So we are in the last days. That's another one I don't have on my list. Last days of this wicked system of things. So that includes the government, the financial market, sort of everything that holds civilization of humans as we know it now. And allegedly, all of this is under the control of Satan. He's been allowed to be in control for a period of time, but you know, clock's ticking. So that's everything as we know it. Next, I've got field service and return visits. I've just put those together because they're sort of similar. So field service, that is when they go out to preach to people. Now, when I was growing up, it was a lot of door-to-door stuff. These days, they've got the cart thing where they're standing on roadside corners and not so much going door-to-door. And then, of course, with the whole last 12 months with the thing that kept us all at home and isolating. So there's even less of that. So they've been doing sort of letter writing a bit more, phone and things like that. But anything that is them preaching, trying to get new members and converts, that is field service. But you can see, like, from the history of how it used to be, that was literally people going out to talk to people out in the field service. And I think analogy for that, because apparently in the Bible, Jesus used to liken the preaching activity to a farmer that is plowing his fields and trying to plant things and see what happens. So it's that sort of analogy, that sort of mindset, trying to work the fields, trying to plant the seeds, which is the actual preaching, and then see what sprouts, see what grows. So I think that's sort of where that comes from. And then the return visit bit is after you've spoken to someone for the first time and you've got a vibe going, you've got a rapport going, and you manage to convince them to let you come back to meet again. And that's when you have the return visit. So there are times where they set out, and the sole purpose of that is not to meet new people, is to go back to people that they've spoken to previously to make return visits. And I don't have that here, but if the return visit goes well, eventually they become a Bible study, a Bible student, which is when they're now convinced to commit to going over a particular book. It could be like a whole book, it could be just like a brochure thing, like a pamphlet, and they've agreed to go over it page by page in their Q&A session thing that they do. But that's sort of the progression after that. So that's that one. Next, we have great crowd or the sheep. So this is the other side of what used to be the faithful and discreet slave. So like I said, they believe that there's 144,000 people that are going to heaven. Of course, there's more than that in terms of the number of members worldwide. And so everybody else is part of the great crowd, aka the other sheep, because apparently that's what Jesus said, that there was a group of his disciples at the time, but then that he had other sheep, because, you know, he's the good shepherd, you know, yeah, good shepherd, and we're sheep. We're sheep, so there's different groups of sheep. So this is the other sheep. I am laughing because, my goodness, this is crazy. So this is everybody else who are not going to heaven, and that number is unlimited. So everybody else is other sheep. Lucky you. Okay, next we have women a large army. Now this is self-explanatory in some way, but it's just a group of words that people don't really put together in any other context. So they have it in songs. When they say the women in large army, they're referring to the collective of the females. The collective of the females in the group. And a lot of the time when they put that together, they're referring to a particular activity that they're doing to further the interest of the group, whether that's in them preaching or in them volunteering their time to clean the kingdom halls or anything like that. And they refer to them as a large army. Don't ask me why. I don't know if it's in the context of people working together, just due to the large number. Sister Fister has a channel here, Bridget Fister. I don't know why I call her Sister Fister, but that's how she refers to herself. But there is a song that is sort of based off of this phrase as well. And she according to her, she always thought large armies, that mean like they're large as in physically large, or I don't know, that cracks me up. That's my kind of humor. But yeah, it refers to the collective of females in the group and in the context of activities they're doing to further the interests of the leadership, the faithful and discreet slave. Are you getting it now? Are you piecing it all together? And then the last thing I've got here in less cheerful note is Great Tribulation. Anybody triggered? Anybody triggered? I'm sorry. So the Great Tribulation is what's going to precede the total extermination of everything as you know it. So this is a series of events that's going to happen to show that, you know, things are about to get burnt out. So don't ask me about the details. I'm trying to block that out. But it's essentially things are going to get really hard. Things are going to get really difficult for everybody, especially for the group, because, you know, persecution, they like to feel like they're being persecuted. So things are going to get really hard. There'll be signs everywhere. Everything will be kicking off. And yeah, you're just going to know that stuff is about to go down. The creator of the universe is about to come and smite 99.9% of the population, you know, happy days before they get, you know, this great big slaughter is going to happen. And then this little group of people who happen to agree with the men in New York in their different forms, they are going to start building over these corpses. So I don't know what the plan is for what they're going to do with all the bodies, you know. But yeah, they are going to just come over, maybe landscape the whole thing, build houses. Everyone's going to have everything they've ever wanted, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be a lovely time, and no one's going to be bothered about the billions of people who have been slaughtered. Isn't that just lovely? So yeah, I don't know why I'm being so sarcastic today, but that's the sort of mood I'm in. So those were the ones that I put down. Like I said, if you were in the group yourself and I missed out anything, put it in the comment below. You have to explain what it is so that anyone who's looking know as well. If you're watching up until this point and you haven't subscribed or given me a thumbs up, why not? Please go ahead and do that, because the more engagement that the videos have, the more people see them, share it, even if it's just for the comedic value. Yeah, and hopefully I didn't trigger too many people. Anyway, so that is it for me today. I hope you look after yourself. I hope you have a good rest of the week. In fact, I think I can't speak anymore. I'm gonna link some videos here somewhere for you to go ahead and watch next if you're sticking around. I really can't speak, so I'm gonna go. Have a good rest of the day, guys. Bye.